Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, it is Thursday, um the 8th of March. Yes, it is March 8th, believe it or not. And I thought I'd come on here to discuss some recent WWE news. Now I know I did this not that long ago. Let me adjust the volume here. Okay. That should do it. But like I said, I know I discussed this recently. A couple of days ago during a lunch hour. And I thought I'd just bring it up again because there's a lot of news that came out recently over the past 24 hours. In fact, over the past couple of days, too, that I didn't really touch upon. Oh, crap. Like I said, that I didn't really touch upon. On as well. Now, a couple days ago when I did the live stream during my lunch, or at least the final couple 20 minutes of my lunch, one of the things I talked about was what came out of Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. Of course, Of course, it was officially announced and made. It was officially announced that we're going to get Stephanie McMahon and Triple H against Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. I also discussed the fact that I'm kind of worried a little bit. Hopefully, WWE doesn't do this, but I'm kind of worried at the fact that because they allowed Kurt and Ronda to get the upper hand on Monday, that unless they balance things out to where 1 week the babyfaces get the upper hand and then the heels. If they just go with the baby faces getting the upper hand, mostly Ronda, what I'm afraid of is they're pretty much going to do exactly what they did to Sting at WrestleMania 31, and that's have Ronda job to Stephanie. Hear me out. You see, when Sting was brought in, he was always looked up as being a step ahead most of the time when it came to facing the Authority, facing Triple H. But what happened at WrestleMania? Instead of doing the right thing and having Sting go over Triple H went over Sting. Now, that's what I'm kind of worried about with Ronda, is if they allow Ronda to continue being this dominant force leading up to Mania, that I'm afraid what's going to happen is there's going to be a moment in the match where there's some kind of confusion or something, and that the result is going to end up being Stephanie pinning Ronda. Now, I know from a storyline sense, it'll make you want to see Ronda beat the hell out of Stephanie even more. But again, this is something that fans have been waiting for quite some time. And if you go that route, you're pretty much robbing them of any opportunity. Of any opportunity, I should say, of finally seeing Stephanie get her comeuppance after all this time. So hopefully WWE works it out correctly and goes back and forth and maybe gives Stephanie and Triple H a little bit more of an advantage than the baby faces of Ronda and Angle, so that at least it makes it more believable. Because like I said, if you go in one direction and just allow Ronda and Kurt, mostly Ronda, to dominate at times, I just don't like the outcome in the end. I just don't like what the possible outcome is going to be in the end this entire situation. I mean, to me, I just get this weird vibe that if they don't do this correctly, we're pretty much going to have Ronda losing, or at least being pinned in some confusing manner at WrestleMania. And that's something that we cannot have happen. That's something we cannot. That is something we cannot have happen. And WWE hopefully plays it right. Sorry about that. Hopefully WWE plays it right, and they don't do that. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they got planned going into WrestleMania. And again, hopefully they do the correct thing, go back and forth more so in favor of the heels than the baby faces. So at least it makes it feel more believable and, in a sense, unpredictable, if you will, because again, I just get this bad vibration if they continue allowing Ronda to get a step ahead of Stephanie going into WrestleMania. I just get this bad vibration. But then again, they may not do that. They may say, hey, let's just keep Ronda dominant and have Stephanie because of last week, let's have Stephanie continually try to dodge her until Mania, and then that's when it happens. So, I mean, they could still make Ronda look intimidating and dominant. You just have Stephanie continuously try to dodge her or put obstacles in her way, so at least she could try to weaken her going into Mania. Remember. Oh. Well, like I said, too, you can still make Ronda look intimidating and dominant, but you got to find a way to work around that to where it's going to make you question: is she going to get her hands on Stephanie during that match at Mania, or is Stephanie once again going to escape by the skin of her teeth? You got to do something like that. You have to figure out some way to make it work to where it's going to build up that anticipation for Mania of whether or not she will get her hands on Stephanie going into the match, during that match. Because again, if they make her dominant and physically dominate Stephanie, or Kurt's outsmarting Triple H, to me that's a bad sign. But hopefully they don't do that. I think WWE is smart enough to realize that, hey, we brought Ronda in. She's probably the biggest signing we've had so far in the past decade or so. Let's not jinx this. And, well, at least in the past few years, if not the past decade, from someone outside of wrestling coming in. Hopefully they realize, hey, she's one of the biggest signings we've had so far, if not by far, with the exception of Sting, maybe. Let's not try to botch this. Let's have her go over, because they have to realize fans are going to expect that. I mean, I understand the word going around is they want to use Ronda to make Stephanie into a mainstream star. Whatever happens at Mania is still going to do that anyway. It's still going to do that anyway. All right. So again, hopefully WWE doesn't screw this up come WrestleMania. I don't think they will, because I could just hear the critics of me like, so a lot of the, not just the hardcore wrestling fans, but the casual, and not just the casual fans, but I can hear all of sports and multimedia going like, really? So you brought Ronda in, and in her first match, you have her lose on the biggest stage, or on your biggest stage ever, to Stephanie McMahon because of a fluke or some kind of confusion. You just brought her in to eat a job to someone that doesn't really compete that much. I can just hear the criticism and backlash they'll get from that. So hopefully they don't do that. But again, this is WWE. What what do you expect them to do sometimes? The right thing? Well, it looks like they're doing that as of late with Raw and sometimes SmackDown 205 and NXT. But still, it's like when it comes to the big events, they don't always do the correct thing. But hopefully they do it here. That's all I'm hoping for. But anyway, besides that, the other thing that happened on Raw this past Monday night is we finally got the announcement of what we've been waiting for. We finally got the announcement that Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are indeed going to have a deletion match, or in this case, it's called the Ultimate Deletion. At the Hardy compound. Yes, the Hardy compound is actually going to make its WWE debut. Hopefully, from what we saw with the vignette on Monday, it looks like they're going to try to replicate what we had in Impact Wrestling. Rebby is the one, obviously, that filmed that, and obviously she has help from Jerry B. Borash, who's now part of WWE. So hopefully they allow Jeremy and Rebby to kind of help direct and make sure things go the way they're supposed to, so that, as some reports have put it, it becomes that connecting bridge between both promotions, oceans, if you will, but basically being the same kind of scenario. Basically, it's connecting. It's like, this is basically an ongoing storyline continuity with a new chapter and new characters thrown in this case being Bray Wyatt being a new character, that you want to familiarize the hardcore audience that follow Matt Hardy and his broken gimmick and all that over WWE. You want to familiarize them with something identical or basically similar to what they had in Impact Wrestling, but you also, in a sense, want to introduce the casual fans or the hardcore WWE fans to what many people have been talking about, so they can be like, oh, this looks interesting. Another thing is, you don't want to make it look like the House of Horror match. You don't want it to look like that. And what you want to do primarily is, remember the Wyatt compound with the Wyatt family and the New Day? You want to go in that direction, I would say. You want to try something that's a blending of what we saw in Impact Wrestling with the broken vignettes and moments and all that. You want to blend it into what you try to replicate with the Wyatt compound, the Wyatt's the New Day kind of deal. So hopefully whatever they filmed today, because apparently they're doing it today in Cameron, from what I understand, hopefully whatever is filmed is almost identical to what we had in Impact Wrestling, so that there is no confusion. So it doesn't feel like, oh, it's now a WWE thing and not a Broken Universe thing. So hopefully they do it correctly, they do it justice. And from what I understand, we're either going to see the result on one of the Raws before WrestleMania. It's either going to be on the 19th edition of Raw, or it's going to be on the 26th edition of Raw. Because apparently they're not going to do anything as far as we know with these guys at WrestleMania, unless they become the tag team that challenges the Bar. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think obviously that might be what it's leading towards. You might be having Bray Wyatt and Broken Matt Hardy or Woken Matt Hardy become a tag team after this, going up against the Bar. That'd be intriguing in its own right. Hold on a sec. Sorry. But like I said, hopefully they do it justice. And like I said, there's not much confusion when it comes to what we're going to see on either the 19th or the 26th. But yeah, a lot of people have been waiting for this. It's like, you bring Matt Hardy in, you bring him in along with Jeff as the Hardy Boys, and you bring him in to kind of capitalize on the success he had outside the company with the broken thing, and you want a part of that. But yet, for a while, you've been stifling, of course, because of legal issues and all that. And now that you and Matt finally have this, you finally have your hands on this. This is something that a lot of fans have been waiting patiently for, have been getting a little impatient. So hopefully, since they've been waiting so long, that you do it. Hopefully, they allow it to be done justice. And you know what? If Rebby's helping with the filming, if JB at Matt's request is going to be part of this, and they got a bigger production in a sense, but I don't know if they'll use too much of that because they're going to want to make it feel more reminiscent of what they had in Impact. Hopefully, they do the right thing, and we get something good out of this. We really do. And like I said, I think the end result is going to be Bray and Matt challenging the Bar at WrestleMania, being that makeshift tag team that people are talking about that's going to come out and challenge them. All right. Now, besides that, let's talk about something otherwise. Let's talk about some other news besides that. Word going around, there are 2 new championships that are going to be introduced very soon. First of all, let's talk about NXT. Now, this is where, as the title says, it's going to contain NXT taping spoilers. But first of all, we found out that because Bobby Fish got injured and is going to have surgery this week on his knee, I believe, that the Undisputed Era is going to vacate the championship. Now, here's the thing. They are vacating the championship, and that's the noon horn over here in Newman. If I can get it on here for a second, let me check something. Yeah, but they're going to vacate the championships. And if I can get over here. Over here for a second. I'm just trying to look here. Okay. Basically, the news going around that since the Undisputed Era has had to vacate the championship. Had to vacate the championship. Um, basically, because, like I said, they had to vacate the championship. Yep. The winners of the Dusty Rhodes Classic will, actually, from what I understand, let me make sure I get this. The winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Now, bit of spoilers, the final two teams in the Dusty Rhodes Classic are Authors of Pain for the second year in a row, and the makeshift team of United Kingdom champion Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. However, the finals go to a no contest or to a DQ because O'Reilly and Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole interfere. So it's announced that at TakeOver New Orleans or TakeOver NOLA, that Undisputed Era will take on the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne, where the winners will be the Tag Team Champions and the Dusty Rhodes Classic Champions. So there you go. Again, there you go. Basically, even though I think they lost, even though they weren't initially in the tournament, Adam Cole, Undisputed Era is still going to be part of it. And I think the argument they're going to have storyline-wise going into TakeOver, because this is the taping that's taking place on April 4th. It's an April 4th taping. Well, it's a taping for April 4th. It's a taping for April 4th, basically 4 days before that. Basically, I think the argument they're going to have on .com and building up to it in those 4 days, especially in a pre-show before TakeOver, is that the Undisputed Era together were tag team champions and they never should have been stripped. That Adam Cole could have easily stepped in for Bobby Fish. So, yeah, we're going to have a three-team, a triple threat tag team match for the NXT at TakeOver for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and also the winning team becomes the champions of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Now, that wasn't the only thing that came out of. That's not the only thing that came out of the tapings this past last night. That wasn't the only thing that came out of the tapings last night. Again, like I said, that wasn't the only thing that came out of the tapings last night. We also found out that there is a new NXT championship being created. It is this is something that fans have been waiting for a while. It is a mid-card championship, as far as people know. It's a mid-card championship for NXT, and it's called the NXT North American Championship. Now, I know some people are like, I've already heard some people being like, well, why couldn't you just call it the Television Championship? It makes it easier. Well, I guess this is supposed to be more old school because Triple H has a little bit more respect for the old school ways at times and kind of like to pay homage to them. And this is something that WWE has never really had, honestly. I mean, they have a United States Championship, yes, but they've never had a North American title for 60, 50 years or something like that. And the last time they had a North American title defended in WWE was the NWA North American Championship as part of that storyline. And that was held by Jeff Jarrett. And then Barry Windham. Sorry, I'm thinking at the mic. But yeah. So yeah, William Regal announces that there's going to be a 6-man ladder match to crown the first ever NXT North American champion. And one of the first participants is EC3. But we also find out later on during the April 4th taping, I think, if I can get to that. Yeah, during the April 4th taping, we find out that joining EC3 will be Killian Dane, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, Adam Cole, and Ricochet. Now that's a pretty, and that was my dog right there. She's okay. And that's a pretty stacked ladder match to crown a new champion. I mean, you got two of the hottest free agents now part of the company in EC3 and Ricochet. You got two of the biggest up and coming powerhouses, possibly the next Brock Lesnar's or whatever you want to call them, and Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan. You have Velveteen Dream, which a lot of people are getting behind. So you have Dane, Dream, Sullivan, Adam Cole, Ricochet, and EC3. And then, like I said, you got Velveteen Dream, which a lot of people are getting behind. So the question really up right now, or the question really up in the air right now, as far as WWE is concerned, when it comes to the ladder match, is who they're going to book to go over. Hold on for a second. I'll be right back. But like I said, the question is going to be who do they book to go over? Like I said, the question is going to be who do they book to go over? Sorry about that. I had to let my dog out. I can see her from here. Anyway, the question is going to be for them is who do they book to go over? Because you got two powerhouses, like I said, in Sullivan and Dane, that obviously are immediate call-ups to the main roster soon if you're going to be losing Brock Lesnar. Mostly Sullivan, which a lot of people feel, which has been noted to have a connection to Brock and pretty much is looked at as the next Brock. So there's that. Then, like I say, you got Velveteen Dream, who a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon of. You got Adam Cole, who pretty much a lot of people feel needs that singles championship, but after seeing him appear in the Royal Rumble, you know, it's almost like a foregone conclusion that him and possibly O'Reilly's going to the main roster after Mania, if not a little after that. And then, of course, you got Ricochet and EC3, who just arrived in NXT. So to me, the best selection is to go with the three guys that are going to be NXT mainstays for a while, and that's Dream, EC3, and Ricochet. And if you really want to strike when the rod is hot, then you want to go with probably the most anticipated or the most over of those three to win the match. And some would say it's got to be Velveteen Dream. That might be true, but then again, EC3 and Ricochet were big hot commodities. See what happens. But again, it's one of those two. But to me, one of those three have to be the ones that become the first ever North American champion for NXT. Then there's the announcement for 205 Live. 205 Live has announced, it's being talked about, and there's been some photos going around, or at least possibly finalized concept art, that 205 Live is going to be introducing a Cruiserweight Tag Team Division. In other words, they'll be introducing a Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship. Now, I know some people are probably thinking, really? They're gonna give us a Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship before they give us a Women's Tag Team Championship? Here's the deal. I understand people's frustrations, and today being International Women's Day, you would think this would be the day or with this day upcoming and now here, you think the better idea would be to announce a women's tag team championship. The only problem is you would have to make that tag team championship a tri-branded championship. What I mean is a championship that's defended not just on Raw, not just on SmackDown, but also on NXT. It would make sense, but it would make a lot of sense and give a lot more women exposure, especially those in NXT. But right now the plan is to try to rebuild and reboot 205 Live into something people want to see. And it's obviously working. Because now they're starting to form tag teams. Like 2 nights ago, you had the tag team debut, or the debut as a tag team of Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami. And now you're teasing something like, Dunn and Strong as a tag team. You're teasing possibly TM61 as a tag team. And what this does initially, when you think about it, by giving these cruiserweight style like tag teams something to go after, it builds them up to become legitimate contenders down the line for either the SmackDown or Raw tag team titles. That's what it does. It builds those teams up to where, let's say TM61 comes up and they compete for the cruiserweight tag team titles in that division for a while, and they get better and better as time goes on and maybe eventually win the titles. It helps solidify them as not only a great tag team that many people have said they are, but it also gets them ready to get taken up a notch to the main tag team titles, that being the Raw or the SmackDown. So in a sense, even if these tag team championships are not probably the best idea, they're beneficial because it helps create new tag teams, even if they're cruiserweights, to vie for something more than just one championship on that brand and give them something to do. But it also prepares them to take that next step to challenge for the Raw or SmackDown tag team titles. And I know some people are thinking, well, that sounds great and everything, but and again, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that sounds great and everything, Brian, but couldn't they have done something more, or I don't know, legitimate or more important? Like maybe not create a cruiserweight tag team title, maybe a secondary cruiserweight title? Hey, I'm not saying they couldn't have done that. Heck, if you want the truth, they could have created a cruiserweight television title and it would have worked. But because of the fact that they're trying to expand on the brand now, they're trying to give it more of that familiar feeling you had with the Cruiserweight Classic, more of that sports-oriented like feeling. This is probably the best way to go. And again, like I said, it helps build the tag team division on both ends. This is pretty much what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting from here. The vibe I'm getting from here is this is pretty much, setting the table to create and establish new tag teams together, so that not only do they have the cruiserweight tag team titles to fight for, but down the line they could fight for, when the time is right, they can end up fighting and wrestling for the SmackDown or Raw tag team titles. It has a benefit like that we're not seeing. That if you're critical about it, you're not seeing that this is going to allow them to have a taste of what it's like to be maybe tag team champions, maybe not Raw or SmackDown, but give them a taste of what it's like to be champions and give them more experience on that main roster level, so that down the line, when they get the opportunity, they can challenge. When they get the opportunity, they'll be able to challenge and be in consideration and challenge and they'll be in consideration and contendership, I should say, to challenge for one of the major tag team titles, being the Raw or SmackDown. It could work. It could really work. And now I understand people are critical because the last time they tried to do a cruiserweight tag team division, it failed. Let's not forget something. When WCW tried the cruiserweight tag team division, the only reason it failed is because of the fact that it was being done in the final months of its existence. That's why it failed. The concept was great. AJ Styles, when I did when I did a VIP thing with him when me and other fans did a VIP thing with him over a decade ago in Lawrence, Kansas, AJ Styles told me told me and everybody else there that he thought it was a great idea. He loved the idea of the fact that they were going to, put more emphasis on the cruiserweights now with a cruiserweight tag team division. But it didn't last too long due to the fact that maybe, they had the cruiserweights and everything. They probably had the cruiserweights necessary and could bring some in. It's just that it was being conceived and done at a time that WCW was not long for this world. And that's the truth. But now it's the concept is being brought back. The idea is being brought back, and it's being done in a way to where the cruiserweight division, this new rebooted cruiserweight division, is just getting off its legs. It's just starting to finally find its groove again and be what it was supposed to be when 205 Live first debuted. Be like what it was in the Cruiserweight Classic. It works better now than it did back then, because you have more of the resources, you have more opportunity, you have more of the resources, you have more sources to reach out to get talent that you need. It works in the end. It really does. So, to me, I think it's a great idea because you got the talent. You're pretty much already testing it, not just, this past week, but you're also testing it with the likes of Dunn and Strong being a tag team, TM61 as a tag team, you name it. It works. And again, it's a platform, in my opinion, to get those cruiserweight tag teams ready and prepared for the inevitable opportunity to challenge for the Raw or SmackDown tag team titles. It's kind of like in New Japan. In New Japan, IWGP, if you will, the junior heavyweight tag team titles are basically a platform for the tag team that holds them to inevitably make that jump up to the heavyweight tag team division and challenge for the titles there. They can even do that. They even can come out and say, hey, we're jumping up to the heavyweight division to challenge for you guys, or challenge you guys for the tag team titles. They can do that. And that's pretty much the same vibe I'm getting here, that this is going to be like WWE's junior heavyweight tag team titles division that in time serves as that platform that will allow the team that inevitably becomes tag team champions, or any future team that gets a shot at the goal, or at least multiple opportunities in that tag team division at being champion, to inevitably jump up and say, hey, we want to challenge for the Raw or SmackDown tag team titles, or at least get considered to be called up, at least be considered and told backstage that, hey, we're going to move you up and give you a shot at these titles and maybe a run with these titles. That being the Raw to SmackDown. So, to me, I think it's a great concept. I think it really works. I think it works better this time around than when WCW tried it. So, I think it's good. I think it's going to be great. If it backfires, then we'll know it backfired when the tag team titles are no longer around. We don't see them in existence anymore. But I don't think it's going to backfire because it's got enough. I think there's enough fuel right now on the fire to make this happen. So I think it's a good idea, and apparently it's going to happen after WrestleMania. So, yeah, really looking forward to seeing how they do that. But anyway, that's really all I can discuss on some of the recent news as far as WWE goes over this past week so far, including the NXT, including the spoilers from NXT last night. But yeah, right now, we may look at WWE at times and say, well, they're not doing so well when it comes to SmackDown or anything. Hashtag fire Road Dogg, hashtag demote Road Dogg, whatever you want to go with. But there are times when they are starting to click on all cylinders when needed. And hopefully, with the exception of SmackDown, hopefully with SmackDown, they start doing that. But otherwise, they are starting to really click on all cylinders as they head toward Mania and take over New Orleans. So that's really all I got to say on it, folks. Let me know what you think down below. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check, see if anybody said anything before I get ready to go get me some lunch, maybe. What's ironic is I'm actually doing a barbecue at my job right now to celebrate us getting our one-time bonus today and stuff. So let me see if anybody said anything here. Yeah, hi David Hinkle. I don't know about Stone Cold coming back. I understand he's supposed to come back during the pre-show, maybe. I'm not really sure. So we'll find out. But anyway, that's really all I'm gonna have to say about it, folks. Let me know what you all think down below. Thank you all for watching live and everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching post live after it's been uploaded. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your comments down below. Take your time in watching this if you are watching it post live. And I will talk to you all later. I am out for right now. God bless. Take care.